do first? All that other stuff can be filled in the blanks. And I started creating impact. Once I started creating impact, it was just like pouring fuel on my fire. I realized I'm actually helping others. I'm leading from the front. I'm seeing people change. I'm seeing a light bulb go off in their heads. And, and then it makes me happy. It fulfills, I think, that part of my passion for people and community, just like the Firehouse always did. This brings me back to community and leadership and helping others.
Great experiences build great leaders. Great leaders build great teams. This is Building Great Sales Teams.
All right, guys, welcome back to Building Great Sales Teams. It has been too long. Your boy has been slacking, but we got 3 guests today. We're recording all day today, so we're going to catch you guys up for sure. Today, I have Mr. Charlie LaRue in the studio today. He's the CEO of Charron Contracting, co-founder of Blue Collar Unchained, co-founder of Eternal Hype, and he's also a real estate investor, agent, and developer. He has his expertise in general contracting, real estate, and then scaling blue collar businesses. Charlie, welcome to the show, brother.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Doug. Really appreciate you, brother.
All right, man. Well, let's get right into it. Before we hopped on the show here, you were talking about deleting everything. So walk us through what's going on. What's got you feeling that way?
Man, it's the opposite of shiny object right now. You get involved in these things and, even though they're only one step over as we talk about and staying inside of your business, some of these things are just taking a lot of bandwidth from me. And I'm kind of realizing I'm giving up the great for the good. What I mean by that, too, is a lot of the stuff that has to do with the family and the future steps of where I'm going. I was talking with Will, one of my partners this morning, and he was kind of saying that analogy of if we're scaling, what's the next step? Okay, you get more people. Scale the next step. What do you get? You get more businesses. You get corporate. You get this. And at the end of it all, what do? You sell. And what do? I go fishing with my kids. Well, if I'm going fishing with my kids right now and I'm still happy and successful, why am I doing all these others? So I'm really trying to figure out exactly what is working for me, what is not working at this current time, and really just deleting everything that's taking too much of my passion projects away from me.
It's tough because if you've ever struggled before, then in your mind you're like, I can't delete this. I can't cancel this. I can't not do this thing. Because if I not do that small little thing that I know in the back of my head, I know in my heart that I don't need to be doing, but I feel like if I stop doing it, then all of a sudden the insecurity sets in. You're like, man, I could lose everything tomorrow. So that way I kind of swing back and forth between those two things.
And you feel like you quit or you're giving up on something. I'm not a quitter, but all the successful people or these books, I've been reading a lot of audibles lately, like almost a book a day, believe it or not, a book every 2 days. Maybe too much, praying over it, but I've just been really digging deep on what I want or what I actually don't want out of life. Throughout the involvement of business over the last couple of years, I was always looking, what do I want? What do I want? What do I want? But recently, it's just, what do I not want? What do I not want in my life? And it's actually helped me so much. I want more. I'm chasing when really I'm deleting. I'm getting better and better. So it's one of the things I'm realizing right now, just erasing kind of some of the things that thought were really great, but you're giving up the great for the good. And that's opportunity, right? Things are making money. Things have scalable opportunity to them. You're like, oh, am I really going to walk away from this thing? But
what's good for you, what was good for you a year ago may not be good for you now anymore. And that goes with people too, right? Like when we create these followings and we're part of these networks and we're, part of these events and stuff like that, it's easy to all of a sudden have a bunch of friends, you know what I'm saying? But even inside of a mastermind where, the people that get it should be abundant, you'll find they get it to a certain point. And then after that, they're going to stay comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Or, they're going to be negative, right? Or they're not aligned with our core values, right? And so that's another thing, again, I didn't have a lot of friends growing up. I was the oddball out because I was, my stepdad was military. And so I moved a lot. And then even after my mom and my stepdad broke up, we still moved a lot. You know what I mean? And so it was like I never really had those like lifelong friends. And so as I got older and then I started joining these groups like you and I are in, it's like, oh man, these are my people. And then I realized after a while, it's like not all of them are, you know. And
And it's
so
hard. You're a lover and you're a good person. Like you want all those people to be your people, right? You're pouring into them. Yeah.
yeah, 100%. Okay, so we're both in the thick. I mean, you're more in the thick of it than I am right now, but we're both doing an event this year, and I believe this is your first event, correct? Like this scale.
Second event of this
Second?
scale. First one was like a little
Okay.
more intimate, 15-ish people, 2 or 3
Right.
speakers. This is now, 5x that in all ways, and speakers and location and value add and people coming, everything.
What has and what's going on right now, and what has this event been like as you put it all together? You know what I mean? Is it everything that I've been going through too, where it's like I didn't have hair before and now I really don't have hair?
Don't have hair, your bank account, your friends, right now. No, I mean, people don't realize, they look at these events that you throw on, they think all the content just magically appears. They think the keynote speakers just randomly say yes to you and show up. And they think that nothing fails. But to be honest, everything in it is a problem. It's hard. It's a decision to be made. It's moving forward. And let's face it, we're not event planners, but we care so much about our groups that we want to provide value. And that's the number one hard thing I've been having is like, hey guys, we need to do this because this is the value that we believe in, right? So we have to perform at this level. But to get to that level when it's not what you do every day is a really difficult thing, And I guess, how do I say it? Comparing your events to other events, right? Being in these big masterminds, how many times have you been to a Mark Evans, a Sean Whalen, a Grant Cardone, a Line, right? Like, so you're kind of picturing their events, but maybe that's where you want to be, not where you are right now. Like, I gotta have this and this, and you gotta wrap the thing. But Charlie, this is your second event, man. Like, look at what you have. So really just, again, deleting what is not me and me, trying to figure out where I exactly line and where I'm at right now and still how to provide that value and give the best event possible.
It is. It's tough. You're preaching to the choir right now. Like I have this vision in my head of this event, and it's mine's going to be probably, if we sell out, maybe like a $50,000 event, and I will not make any money on it. And so, and it's because every time I get any money from it or have money to put aside for it, I'm trying to spend it on this next level experience to make sure that, because I've been to a lot of events now, some of these people have their own venues inside of their offices, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, that's a whole different deal, and so maybe I don't need the $8,000 venue. Maybe I don't need that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
First one.
Yeah, but it's beautiful because these type of events changed my life, right? First time I was ever backstage, Lions Den Live with Mark, with Sean Whalen, seeing these guys, that changed my life, right? So, that cost versus value thing, I'm always trying to portray to people, like, to do this. So I feel like if I don't put on an event like this, because listen, if I never did an event ever again, it wouldn't have hurt me, right? But I'm doing a disservice to the people around me, right? Like, I was blessed. I come from a really small town. So for me to travel and do that type of event changed my life forever. So how much of a service am I doing to people either I know, love, and trust right next to me, or people that are in my, our coaching group here, our community? How much of a disservice am I not doing by going through those difficult steps and putting on an event for them? Because, the event is great. They can listen to me talk all day. They can listen to the keynote speakers. But when they get next to each other and they realize there's a community, there's support, there's other people available, right? There's other people going through this stuff. That's when life changes.
Yeah, we all have the same problem. You know what I mean? Like the version you see or you choose to see on social media, oftentimes when you meet them in person, you're like, oh shit, you have that problem too? I thought I was the only one,
Hey, you're human. I could actually touch you, right? I feel that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so tell us about your event. This is coming up next week. This episode should come out tomorrow morning, so it's in enough time to maybe get the word out a little bit. So walk us through that.
Awesome. Yeah. So it's our second event. We did one in Poconos at first. This one is in Charleston, South Carolina. And the first one was more intimate, so we wanted to scale this one. So we booked it in Charleston, South Carolina on a beautiful resort. So everything, as I just mentioned, will be at that location. So the people that are staying in the hotel, the people that are going to be eating there, bringing their families to the pools, everyone will be there. So not only do you have the opportunity to listen to the 5 and 6 keynote speakers we have that are beyond successful in their space, and everyone that they're doing, but you'll be able to rub elbows all day long and all night long and however long you plan on staying at that resort with everyone, which I think is totally different. As you mentioned, you've traveled to some and it's not like that. You don't have the connection point with all those people in the network. You travel there and then you leave. The big thing for us was to have it in a place where everyone could feel comfortable and enjoy it. So it'll be in Charleston, South Carolina. The hotel space is the same as the event space, and everyone will be hanging out there afterwards and then the next day as well. So we booked an event at the gym the next day. As you know, we focus on health a lot in our stuff. So we're going to be going to the gym with each other the next day. We have a VIP dinner if you want to sit down with a couple of the higher level people and get more of a one-on-one connection. The whole point of Unchained is becoming the best version of yourself that is in there. Your subconscious, your voice talks to you all day long, but you just don't do it, right? You have all these old restraints, all these old things that you're used to hearing. And what we like to do inside our community is just show you ways to get outside of your own head and just take a step into the positive direction, right? Everyone asks us about money and opportunity and all these things. And we say, guys, if you focus on your mind and you focus on your health and you focus on your relationships, all the opportunities are going to come. And this event is meant to do that for you. Having guys like Mike and Tony and Willie and Sebastian and Frank, all these people have gone through adversity and they've taken that adversity and they've turned it into success. And they're going to show you what success is for some people. For Frank, he's cut wide open, brand new heart transplant survivor. His success is waking up every day. Another person like Willie, he's a big 9-figure guy, right? He's billionaire mindset. He wants more out of life. So you'll be able to see like success is relative, as we always say, but this will be eye-opening for people to realize that success is just what you want it to be. It's not what I feel it is, not what Doug feels. None of that. It's just what you want. So this event is just meant to open people's eyes and show them what is an opportunity out there for them in their own life.
So you said Mike who?
Fallon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking you and Mike, Claudio were able to hook up, but I was like, dang, I didn't even hear about that.
Mike is actually sponsored. I spoke to Mike last night and first thing this morning. Mike's going to be actually one of our sponsors.
Oh, fantastic. Great.
Yeah.
All right. I'm glad we were able to hook you guys up for sure. And hopefully next year, then maybe he can come and speak. Because if you haven't heard him speak yet, dude, he's fantastic.
Yeah, as long as you plan my next event and you do all the work for us.
No, thank you. I don't even want to plan my next one. I'm hiring it all out. Like I have an event coordinator and a marketer, and I'm still doing way too much.
Yeah. No, it's all good in the end. But you know what I like about it? It makes you appreciate the events that much more, right? Like until you're in the thick of it, you don't know. So everyone that goes there say, guys, listen, there's the speakers. Here's you guys. Here's the food. We're good. Listen and rub elbows. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care. Put a name tag on, like make it super simple. But no, it's gonna be in a beautiful location. It's gonna separate you from your normal areas that you used to being in. Just gonna put you in a different mindset. So that's why we want to do it somewhere like there. And there's history there too. So if you believe in the most churches in any square miles that there are anywhere in the country.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool. Okay, so you currently own, and is it Charron Contracting? Is that how you say it?
That's it, Charron Contracting. Yep.
Yeah, and but that wasn't always the case, right? It was not too long ago that you were a firefighter. What made you make the leap to contracting?
So I had a son, and I was at the firehouse. My stepfather was a career fireman as well. I was a Department of Defense Army fireman, and you realize you're not home with your family as much as you need. And that's where my change needed to be. Honestly, I got my hero job, what I wanted to do my whole entire life. I finally got there. I made it. 25 an hour, right? And then you realize I'm not sleeping next to my wife. You're not making enough to when you come home from work, you have to have a second job. You're just not the dad and the husband that you need to be. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to take a leap of faith. Everyone told me I was crazy, of course, right? And I left. And, I always did like handyman type stuff and always had the entrepreneurial mindset. So for me, it was scary, but it was something that I think had in the back.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. And so many people go their whole life without making a pivot like that and a decision like that, whether it's, programming from their parents or programming from their community or their environment, or it's like, I don't want to go through the pain that I'm gonna have to go through to make this work, right? Because if you think about it, you were paying the bills, you were providing, you know what I'm saying? I don't think your family at that time was in the poorhouse. You were making it happen, second job, whatever the case was, and doing that extra work. So it was good enough, you know what I mean? But that's not everything, right? And I would imagine once you left, so it was Department of Defense. So you were Army and then Department of Defense, and then and then you started your business. So imagine once you left, maybe the income went down before it went up. You know what I'm saying? And that down part, that down part is what nobody wants to go through to get to back to the up part. But you get there faster than you think. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not that hard to replace that job. You know what I mean? But it is incredibly hard to go through that down part to get back.
And,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah, and the income is replaceable. That time with your family is non-refundable, like Castro says, right? Like that's non-refundable. I can never get it back. I can always make more, you know? So I realized from that really early point, which was good for me, that I had to go. I still miss it. Don't get me wrong, but I had to leave.
So earlier in the show, we were talking about the leading and everything. Do you ever miss the simplicity of being a firefighter? Like, hey, train and save lives. Train and save lives.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you're working on the best version of yourself all the time. So I'd jump on my Harley. I would go to the firehouse. I'd eat with all the guys. I'd be healthy. I'd be exercising all day. I'd be part of the community, be saving lives. Go home, I'd eat again. I'd go to the gym. I'm smoking cigars with the guys. Like everything about it was beautiful. Like every single part of it, I miss. I was always the best version of me. I was always a hero, always exercising, always trying to do more for the community. So definitely big part of fulfillment you got to make sure you still do when you leave something like that.
Yeah, I think for me, it's the projects around the house. It's seeing a problem, you know, whether it's, the garage needs to be reorganized and reset up this way, or, something as simple as mowing my yard on my zero turn, because I got a big yard. Just doing that very simple act is almost therapeutic because it doesn't require all these big decisions to be made. Like, what kind of food are we going to have between 12 and 2? You know what I'm saying? Like, and is everybody going to like it? And do we have anybody that can't eat this stuff? And it's like, damn, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's where I'm at with the deleting is like the simplistic is where I'm really like, I'm being pulled back really hard. My energy, the Lord, every part of everything is pulling me back to simplicity right now. Big time pulling me back to simplicity. Like less is totally more right now in what I have, even in my construction outfit, like I used to work with my hands, right? I used to be the builder. I had the work truck and all the tools and everything. When I would go home, I would build, I would have fun. I would be changing things, doing things. Now I don't have that work truck anymore. I'm the CEO. So do I have tools? Like someone asked me the other day for a hammer. I'm like, go to my office, right? Like you don't feel right. You feel like you're missing that part of you, of that simplistic. And I'm like, sometimes let me just jump back in that truck. I'll go back there all day long and just sit there and do whatever that is. The people that complain about that, right? It's funny.
It's good problems to have for sure.
For sure.
Okay, so let's talk about the business a little bit, and then what eventually brought you to Blue Collar Unchained, right? And so the business itself. What is that? I was checking out y'all's website and I was seeing that, like, I have clients that are in roofing. I have clients that are in new home builds. I have clients that are in remodels. I have clients that are specifically in patios and decks. You guys do everything. So I'm very curious because, I know that the less products I have to account for in the sales process, the more scalable and the easier that sales process is going to be for the individual that's doing the sales, right? But you guys are doing everything. So what does that sales process look like? And do you have one person selling all of that? Or is it more the GCs that are doing the sales? Or how is that set up?
Yeah, so we chose in the beginning to say, hey, we're either general contractors or we're going to be extremely niche based. So coming from a really small area, there was not as much opportunity for niche based services back when I was starting this, right? Years ago, before I had a lot of education, before I was taught these things or had mentors. So we said, listen, we're just going to do it all to get as many jobs as we can. We said when we left the firehouse, the number one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to paint. My first 2 jobs were painting.
Yeah, God humbles you like that, huh?
And it happened to be the color purple. Like, yes. Yeah. So, but you realize, hey, look, I can either go in the niches, and riches are in the niches, and you can stay really focused, or you can go into the other side. So salesman, I've always been one of the main salesmen, even throughout like backing up from the company, the larger projects, new construction, large renovations, design build things, investments. I'm that salesman. I'm the guy who can make you cross the T's, dot the I's. I can bring you across the finish line. But we do have people inside the organization that are like a combination between estimators and salesmen and project managers, because when you're not so niche based, you have a differentiation from when the guy sells the job to how you perform the job. And that part of the middle is always really hard for me. How do you get the project manager to know what the guy sold? So
Yeah.
how did I do that? I kind of just started letting them do a little bit of both. You sell this job, you manage this job. So that's
Okay.
the way we do it right now. But there's
So you
also,
create your own problems if you do it wrong.
yeah, literally, that's what it is. And it helped with like we set SOPs to where like how many man hours are involved right from the beginning, because that's how it should be for your management as well. So it
Yeah.
kind of like it set the bar right off the beginning. But you know, we do have marketing campaigns ran for certain things, right? So roofing, the reason why it's on there, roofing is something that you can bring in sales leads and you can perform with subcontractors. They don't take a lot of the bandwidth from the company itself, more
Right.
just the management side. So we do have a lot of those that create recurring income and other income streams on top of the new construction, the additions and the renovations. So
Yeah,
that's
the
why.
simpler products. That makes sense. That makes a ton of sense. And so you talked about SOPs earlier. I'm gonna ask you a very important question that I ask all my clients and everybody that asks me, like, how do I increase sales or how do I build my sales team? Well, the first question I always ask is, do you have a script?
I personally have a script. Like I have an elevator pitch on say who I am, what it is. And
Yeah.
in our community, I make before anyone says like, "Hey, I'm this," I'm like, "No, elevator pitch. I want to know your
Yeah.
pitch."
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I
Very
do
cool.
have stuff like that. And really, one of the best ways, Doug, is since my other guys don't know a sales script, like regular guys that are out in the field, they're driving my trucks. Everyone knows our business, so they might get just stopped on the side of the
Right.
road. Their script is charron.com/intake. And that
Okay.
brings you right to the sales page, right? That brings you right to fill out a form to get an estimate from Charron Contract. So if you go on my main website, obviously, you know, you see it behind me, charron.com. There's buttons all over to click for a free estimate, but we created a page just for that. So take away all those steps. So if you want an estimate, charron.com/intake, and it brings you directly over to, you know, what we can do for you right there. So it does help a lot, I think. That is really their sales script. And, you know, being a general contractor back in the day, I would have my tool belt on or driving my truck. The phone would ring for an estimate, and then my guys would be yelling at me for materials. And I would always wind up losing things. Either the guys didn't get managed right or the jobs got lost, something got forgot. So that's why we created those forms and those pages. So we don't lose anything anymore. It gets saved into our CRM system. It gets followed up with automatically by our teams. And no more leads go left cold.
You know, it's crazy when I first started working with blue collar businesses, I didn't realize because, you know, coming from the sales org side where we do nothing but sell, and then we market as well. Direct though, technology, we leaned hard on technology because of the volume we were doing. And so now that I'm consulting for these blue collar business owners, I was incredibly surprised at the gap between technology and what they're doing. I was like, "Oh, you're just not using it at all." Okay, so
This month,
not only are we going to work on your sales program, I'm going to connect you with a few people that can kind of bridge those gaps for you because you're working way too hard. You know what I'm saying? These projects are way too complicated for you not to have a centralized database for, you know, your contractor notes, your GC stuff, your marketing stuff, the lead drop in, all that kind of stuff merging kind of together to where I can see the full history of that customer and know what's going on with the project. You know, data is power, you know?
yeah, that's my number one thing is implementing all the technology in the business. Now, let me tell you, making your 50, 60-year-old men come out on their phone and go to the project and take the pictures and follow your SOPs, totally different ballgame. But now they're realizing how much it actually helps them, you know? Over the time of them not using it, they always forgot. And then now it actually is implemented more and more and more. So that's, I love it for that. We definitely use a lot of technology. I will say, when I started bolting automations onto the business, I was in heaven. Oh, just send it automated for that, automated for that, automated for that. I took away so much human connection, and I started watching my conversions go down and down.
Yeah.
So now we're like, okay, great, automations and human connection, not or. So we focus on and here, not or a lot now.
Yeah, there's definitely a sweet spot to where you overuse tech and then you take the heart out of the business. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you said, that human connection is huge. If we never want to take that away. I don't feel like maybe eventually people will be okay with it, but it's not for the better in my mind. Like they should always be able to call somebody and talk to a person, you know, not just submit a form, say, "Hey, I have a problem," and then hope that they're going to hear back in enough time for it to matter. You know, you should always be able to call somebody and get connected with someone. And, you know, that's part of sales, right? is being there when your customer has that issue. That's the whole thing you're pitching to, you know? It's like, hey, I'm your point of contact. If you have a problem, I'll be here for you. And customers love that. When you can be the guy through the whole service, it's rare, you know, and it's not always logical and profitable. But if you can be the guy through the whole service to take care of them, then that's building a relationship. And then the referrals just come flowing in.
Absolutely. Those touch points we love to have, the one-on-one. And that's where the separation from me doing the estimates was always hard to the management. Like, hey, here is one of our managers that will be operating it. But if you need me, I'm here. But I'm only here from here to here. So because you got to separate yourself from that too, right? Like people take complete advantage of you and your organization if you allow them to do that too.
100%.
9 o'clock on a Sunday, and you know all these things that are just not fair. You know, emergencies and things that come up or anything, but you know, so both sides.
Well, and I think what I'm going to assume you guys have done really well, because I've seen your site and you'll have a perfect 5.0 on your reviews, which is so rare, especially in construction. Like, you're tearing up people's homes. Like, they're just not going to be happy no matter what. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're literally tearing up their lives for a week or 2 weeks, or, you know, however long the project takes. And so I gotta imagine, even if I have a flawless process, I'm still mad because my home got torn up for 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And but you guys have 5.0. How are you able to accomplish that?
You know, really, it's at the end of the day communicating about what their needs are and what ours are, right? Obviously, people are going to be unhappy with some sort of part of the process, whether it's the estimation, the construction, or the completion, the inspections, the township process, the subcontractors, the weather, anything, right? And some of these things come up in different ways, but our thing is, in the end, what do we need to do to make this fair? I understand there's a problem. What is the solution that we can all agree on in the middle? And then we just come up with a resolve. But we are not afraid to have those difficult conversations anymore. You know, years ago, maybe you could try to run from them. You try to hide from them. Maybe you try to skate your way around, and you just don't. Right now, I always say, embrace the suck. Like, just call, just embrace it. Just go in, have that difficult conversation, because once it's done, it's done. Then it's over. Then you got to figure out a fix. So we absolutely have had unhappy customers with certain things, but we always try to do as much as we physically can to keep them happy at the end of the project, and make sure that they do give, you know, referrals or testimonials to us honestly as well.
You've made the transition from firefighter to CEO of a 7-figure construction company, and now you're taking, you know, your experience, your education, your expertise, and basically giving it to the world. Is the best way I can say it, right? You've got a group. Y'all got almost 400 people in it now, and it's from what I understand, it's an unpaid group right now, right?
Correct.
Okay. And so usually by now it's turned into paid. It's like, okay, I need to get paid for my time. I'm pouring all this into it. You guys have the event coming up. Obviously, you got to pay the event expenses. That's paid. What's your long-term plan with? Well, first of all, what inspired you to start this group?
I love blue collar space, and I am indebted to those guys who helped me become the person I am, that were inside of the blue collar space. These are salt of the earth guys that, honestly, as you said, it was parents who taught you this. Maybe it was the educational systems, whatever it was. We were just almost taught to be victims to that 9-to-5 life forever and ever and ever. Work till you can't physically move your body anymore. You're 50, 60. You sell your pickup truck and you pray that you had enough in your savings to do it. Like, so many of those guys taught me pivotal life lessons. They helped me as a father. They helped me as a husband. They helped me as a man. They helped me in every single aspect of my life. And I just never saw them get anywhere else. And they just stayed in that same exact spot. I still see these guys working. It chokes me up like you wouldn't imagine. And my thing was like, hey, if I was able to do this, I was a nobody. I was under these guys, right? If I was able to find success, whatever that is again, in what I wanted to do, I have to share it. And to be really honest, it's not as difficult as people make it seem, right? It takes work, don't get me wrong, but it's going to get you to your path faster and your vision a lot faster. So for me, it was, how do I share my story of where I was to where I am right now, and just fill in those blanks, failures, successes, lessons, all those. Silvio and I, we always say, I'm not going to talk to you about where I am now to where I'm going with expertise, right? I don't know that. I'm learning. I'm a student every day. But I can tell you where I started and where I am and what happened along that roadmap, and what I would maybe think about if I were you and maybe wouldn't think about if I were you. And if I'm not a resource, people in my community are that resource for you as well. So for me, it was helping others realize there's more than just working to skin and bones with no future for you and your family. And the number one reason why I got sick of people saying, Charlie, how do you coach? Charlie, how do you do these things for the community? How do you volunteer? How do you do this? I can't do that. All I want to do is working.
Yeah.
I got so sick of people saying that to me. Like I was this oddball. To me, they're the oddball, right? So I wanted to come up with ways to show them, hey, man, as long as you put your priorities in order, you do what you really want to do first, all that other stuff can be filled in the blanks. And I started creating impact. Once I started creating impact, it was just like pouring fuel on my fire. I realized I'm actually helping others. I'm leading from the front. I'm seeing people change. I'm seeing a light bulb go off in their heads. And, and then it makes me happy. It fulfills, I think, that part of my passion for people and community, just like Firehouse always did. This brings me back to community and leadership and helping others.
Which is something I feel like the reason this, self-development, coaching, mastermind space has blown up so much is because we got starved of human connection in 2020 and 2021. And so, yeah, people are just looking for that again. And, but we found it in the best ways. We found it in our niche. We found it in, being a small business owner. We found it in being someone that does hard things. Right. And, I think it's huge. Yeah, I definitely think it's huge. So where are you guys going with it? What's the goal here? Or are you just kind of like enjoying the journey?
I really, really am. And I know that sounds crazy, but I started to get impact, as I told you. And I said to Sylvia, I'm like, man, I wish we had a community. I wish I could help people. I wish we could do more. She said, well, what does that look like? I said, I don't know. Right. So I said, well, talk to Will, one of our guys who, has got some computer skills. He was like, well, guess what? Why don't you throw a party at your office on Friday and invite people in and have some pizza and see what happens? People came in, were asking me questions. People were opportunities. It was like a therapy session, right? We were like, wow, there are other people like this out there. So it went from, hey, I don't know what I want, to, wow, I'm making impact. Wow, these people are coming here just to talk, just to feel better. And we just kept taking it step by step by step. Now we're 40 weeks in, 2 events in, 400 members actively inside of our group engaging, which I think is a powerful thing too. It's not just a group based on sheer numbers. It's engagement and active people inside of it. So where we want to go with it is taking it to where you have a free side, so you get some sort of the love from us in the Blue Collar Unchained. Right. We want people to come in and pay to play so they can take their stuff to a next level. We all know you put a little bit of coin in, you're going to be a lot more serious than you were. That's just a fact, right? So we want a higher level so we can be more intimate with those people as well. So they're more interested because they have, money invested, and they are taking the next steps they need to become the best version and become unchained.
Awesome. Well, we'll wrap it up with one last question, and it's a 2-part question. What does legacy mean to you, and what legacy do you want to leave behind?
Legacy means, and I just talked about this, it's as simple as my kids driving down the road. It's as simple as my kids driving down the road saying, my dad did that. As simple as, I'm proud of my dad. We did this together, or we used to fish here, or, I learned how to work out from my dad, or I learned those things. That's legacy to me, is when I leave, people still communicating about me in the future. Just knowing that I was a positive role model. I did as much as I physically could for the human race. And I led from the front, and I let my actions speak louder than words. That's legacy to me.
That's beautiful, brother. I couldn't have said it better myself. I want to.
It's on your deathbed. Sean Whalen talks about it, right? You're big into Sean too. Like, are you proud of yourself on your deathbed, right? My kids are standing next to me, holding my hands. Are they proud of the man that is laying there? Are they going to have enough life skills to be able to make generations and generations of LaRues the same person that I was able to? So that to me is legacy.
I love it, brother. If you guys aren't yet, please go and follow. There will be show notes with links to Charlie's social media pages, as well as his contracting page, and of course the event page. If you're on that side of the country, or you want to make the flight out, I would highly recommend it. I know there's going to be some amazing impact made from this event, especially since it's the second time around. You got rid of the mistakes of the first time, and definitely follow this man. He's inspiring, and he's going to continue growing this group. And so if you're in Blue Collar, jump on that bandwagon for sure. Appreciate you coming on the show, brother, and sharing so much value with us, as well as the intimate stuff too.
Appreciate you, Doug. Thank you very much for the opportunity, brother.
All right, guys, let's get building.